quick look anyway. So we've got this weight loss. We've got this weight loss program. And I don't remember, because I've lost the original study on this one. I gave you the link if you, or the title if you want to go find it yourself. I forget if this was the group that was using the meal replacement or if this was the group that was just editing their diets. There was a control group, which was a traditional food group. You know, we're not going to use meal replacements. We're going to use meals, but we're going to change the size and the content of the meals. And there was a group that used like energy bars and gels and things like that. I forget which one this was. But the idea was to see, is weight lost any differently between the two groups? That was a sub part of the study. Okay? Now assume, and this is something Lauren's going to bring up. She's like, wait a minute, time out. Suppose some of those numbers were skewed because somebody exercised more than somebody else. There are all kinds of factors that could go into weight loss besides what they're eating. Exercise is one. What else?
Metabolism.
Metabolism, genetic differences, physiological differences. Good. What else?
I was just gonna say, I don't know how they can give these numbers. You cannot account for somebody's metabolism.
You can't, but you can try to control for it. You can try to control for it by taking certain physiological measurements. Yes, Lauren's got a very, very good point. The problem with studies like this, I mean, I'm a punk rocker. Years ago, all my punk rock friends that didn't want to work used to always sign up to do experiments in hospitals. They would get paid like 30 bucks to stay overnight and like get sleep deprived and drink this weird thing and then do math questions. I would just go and bartend for 3 hours and they would go do that. So you got to realize some of these studies are done on those kinds of people. Mohawk, my friends going in there. I mean, how representative is that person of the population? You would hope there was some kind of a screening done before that happened to make sure they fit the bill of a typical whatever they were studying. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, though, Lauren, and say that they were screened. I love that point, though. Always bring up those points. That's important to notice. Bias in the study leads to basically meaningless data at the end of the day. Austin, go.
Is it fat loss or muscle and water loss?
Exactly. What was lost? Was it fat? Was it poor nutrition, therefore you lost muscle? Or did you just lose water? You just lose water. What was your starting body fat in each of these? I mean, what if somebody was 50%, body fat doesn't exist, but suppose they were, say, 35% body fat versus 17% body fat, right? You could lose potentially more with the same amount of diet, one and the other. You see what I'm getting at there? So lots of factors. Let's assume they were all controlled for and focused just on the data. I love, and they're not always controlled for, just so you know. YouTube, watch this. They're not always controlled for, but let's assume they are so we can focus just on the numbers themselves for today. Please, Nathan, go.
Genes.
Exactly, genetics, exactly. There could be, you could be predisposed to not gain weight, therefore it's going to be hard to lose weight. So a -1 might look less impressive than a -5, but that might be all you could lose, in which case it's more impressive than a -5, because you lost everything you healthily could lose. I'm not saying it's not. Let's assume it was controlled for. Just 244 and research methods classes deal with all these questions at a much deeper level. We're just kind of building tools. It's kind of like we're learning how to use a screwdriver right now, right? And then later on you can ask how it was put together. Can we make this screwdriver better? Probably. But right now let's make sure we can put the Phillips head in the Phillips and the Torx and the flathead. Getting that? Yes. Good. So here's my first question to you guys. Are these folks losing weight on average?
Yes.
I gotta go for yes! Quantify it.
There's more negatives than positives.
Ah! How many more?
A lot. A lot.
Quantify it. Are folks losing
There's 26 of them.
weight?
So
And I'm going to put them on average.
74.3%.
Can I call that 75?
Yeah.
Is that okay? So there's a question. This is the whole point of the study. Are we losing weight? Now, I'm sure there's other points that too, like, are we losing weight healthfully? Versus just, I mean, you can lose like a cutting a leg off for that matter. I lost 25% of my body fat. Yes, you also lost your leg. But are they losing weight on average? So one vote is yes. Because roughly 75% lost weight. Love that. Love that. Good. So you can call odds. Serenity, here you go. 3-to-1 odds in favor. 3-to-1 odds in favor of losing weight. If we can, now, of course, we have to put what on that 75%? We have to put a margin of error on that. With a sample size of 35, it's going to be plus or minus like 15%. Honestly, with a tiny sample like that. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. Because that really is only part of the question. Are they losing weight? 75% are, 25% aren't, plus or minus something. What does that ignore? That ignores something that would probably be important to people.
The size of the person?
How are they?
Let's assume, for the purposes of argument, that they're close enough in size. Like we didn't weight the data set by putting in people that were primed to lose more weight. So they're all the same. Assume I'm trying to equalize everything, control for everything except for the weight change. I like that though, Richie. It's not something you shouldn't ask. You should ask that, of course. But I'm trying to prime the pump for what else should we be answering. It might not have been expressly asked in my question, but what other question would you be interested in if you were embarking on a weight loss program? Say that again?
What are they eating?
What are they? All the same thing. All the people in the control group are eating a a normal food diet. The folks in the meal replacement are eating meal replacements. Lauren?
How did they measure the weight loss?
Boom! The measurement of the weight loss. So I'm assuming that they all started at a 0 value and went from 0. So a negative 34 means 34 pounds lost from 0 being 0 weight loss. But if we only do it this way, what do we lose in the percentage?
The amount they lost.
Say that again, Jake?
The amount
The amount they lost. Wouldn't that maybe be interesting as well? I mean, is there a difference between losing 1 pound and losing 58 pounds? Assuming that we've controlled for the body sizes and body types, get better for the doubt. That's sometimes why these samples are so tiny, because they have to get them down to a homogeneous enough group to be able to compare apples and apples.
Then this study didn't work.
Say that again.
Then this study didn't work.
How do you know?
Well, if a person lost 58 pounds, they had to have 58 pounds to lose.
True.
So
But
you
what
can't compare them to somebody who's only lost 3 pounds.
you can if they all started at the same starting value. The 58-pound person might be an outlier. I'm not saying. I like what you're. Tell me again, too.
Susan.
Susan, thank you. I love what you're saying. The 58-pound loss implies 58 pounds to lose. But that doesn't imply the other ones didn't also have that, but just didn't pull it off. Or they may have lost the muscle, but let's assume that that was controlled for as well. I'm trying to focus just on the numbers and not on the underlying conditions, which we are assuming are equalized. Thank you for that. Always ask the questions. I'm not saying don't ask the questions. I'm saying let's focus on the screwdriver, not how it was made just yet. Fair enough? I love it, Susan. Thank you. So the question is, Richie,
Length of the study?
assume whatever the length was long enough to see a trend occur if there was a trend. I love what you guys are asking. It's great. You're picking holes through the study potentially. I encourage you to go find it. There's the title of it right there. Lauren, go.
I'm just wondering how, if we do like, if we do the variance, what are we gonna?
Let's do it. Let's find out what it is. So, the 1 vote is for yes. 2 votes is actually a question. How much? How much lost? I'm going to put lost in quotes. Because what if the average is actually positive? Right? I don't think it's going to be based on these numbers. But if there's enough outliers on the high end, it would be. So, let's quantify. On average, how much is lost? On average, what's the variance? Take some time right now, if you haven't done this already, run the numbers into your TI. Run the numbers into your TI.